The Announcer's Curse podcast would like to remind you that although we work as announcers and we work for various institutions, our opinions do not represent them in any way, shape, or form. We operate based off the information we have available to us at any given time. Well, it's been a hot second, hasn't it? We may have been gone, but the local racetrack season has certainly kicked into high gear. Ben's got a recap of all that from week 1 and 2 at Evergreen Speedway. I have a look ahead to the Apple Cup weekend, the debut of the car's Pro Late Model Northwest Tour, or other name that may be decided upon at a later date, however it works out. Regardless of what you want to call it, there is so much to talk about and only so little time, so let's get on into it.
Sounds right.
Welcome back to the Announcer's Curse podcast. My name is Derek Todoroff.
I am Ben Iman.
And I'm Caden Barksdale.
And I changed it on them without telling them. We are back. No colonoscopies, stressful weeks, or other pains to get in the way. Racing is in full swing, and I feel normal again. I said, lying confidently.
That's what I like to hear, Derek. You don't actually have to be feeling better as long as you just keep telling people that you are.
You convinced me.
I'm sold.
Are you, viewer?
Stares directly into the camera. The audio listeners are going to have a field day with this one. I can already tell. Well,
look me in the eyes, viewer. Do I look happy?
So we missed a week.
I can tell you the answer.
We missed a week of a real episode.
Yeah.
Yeah,
sorry.
you know. Life gets
already
in the way.
Disparaging my work a couple minutes into the episode.
Yeah, life gets in the way, and when this isn't paying like a full-time job, it's hard to, it's hard to overcome that sometimes. But we're back. We're not missing it, and just in time, because Derek, can you smell that? It smells like
smell very much ever since I got COVID.
It smells like Cosmic Crisp. It smells like Cosmic Crisp, or maybe a Granny Smith, or even a Fiji in there.
Okay, so I'm gonna be honest with you, and I don't know if we're gonna keep me saying this in the episode. I didn't know what the fuck you were talking about when you said Cosmic Crisp. I have to assume at this point that that's an apple.
That's right.
It's the UW one.
It's Apple Cup weekend. Wrong. It's the Wazoo one.
Wazoo.
It's Apple Cup weekend, baby. It's the official start to the Crown Jewel season. Racing in the Northwest is into full swing as we head to the Tri-Cities. That's perfect. Don't cut a thing. That all stays in. Well,
just like an apple, Ben is very red.
Yes, sir. I am so excited for this weekend. This is the real kickoff. Like at Evergreen, we get to be special and we start before everyone else, and we get to finish near abouts with everyone else. And that's something that I cherish, that we start in March. But we all know that this is the real kickoff to the Northwest season. And it's got so much more. The Cars Tour, Northwest Pro Late Model Tour, the Super Late Model Sunday. It's going to just be a great weekend. I'm so excited. I'm so happy that this race still exists. Like, that is a huge thing. Obviously, it has moved to homes now not in recent times, but in its lifetime.
The funny thing is, he's the one who won't be at the race.
Yeah, I know. I don't get to go to it. I know. I have to work. I have another gig all weekend, so I'm going to be watching on Flow on Saturday night with everyone else. And is Sunday also on Flow, or am I just out of luck on that one?
I have no idea.
I know Saturday's on Flow. I'm going to be watching on Flow. Everyone should go watch on Flow.
It might be on Racing America.
I'm going to watch it on Racing America. This is last year I bought Racing America just to watch the Wenatchee 200. I would do it again if it means I can watch Apple Cup weekend. If you can't get to the track, get on Flow, pull it up, watch it. I'm so excited. It's been a lot. Last weekend was the only weekend without a Cup race from now until the end of the season, which if you had a chance to go on social media, you saw that good old Travis from Dirty Mo was throwing pipe bombs into ponds again. So what? he was arguing that NASCAR, the Cup Series, should still race on Easter. He's saying that they shouldn't take the weekend off. And NASCAR, its traditional Southern roots, believes that this weekend is kind of a sacred one, and they should take it. It is a great weekend. It's a great holiday weekend. I loved getting to celebrate Easter with my little one, but I also can understand the flip side of the NFL plays on, Thanksgiving Day. The NBA plays on Christmas Day, and those are sacred days too for people. And so Anyway, I'm saying we're not getting into that argument. 'Cause
NASCAR, of course, only takes the most sacred of days off when it comes to the Cup Series, whether that be Easter or
and Flag Day.
August,
They take Flag Day off too.
or August 2nd.
So, but I just had to kind of lead off with that. Well, when we talk about our NASCAR top division picks, last weekend we don't got anything for you. Derek knocked it out of the park, picking the truck winner. How'd you do next, O'Reilly? I didn't
Not
actually
that
look.
well.
Okay, not that well.
Not
But
too great.
he picked the truck winner. Caden and I didn't put a pick in. Oops. That's what happens when we don't set this time to do an episode and don't make it work. Is I forget about it and Caden forgets about it, and that'll be the one time. That'll be my one. Derek surprisingly didn't let me take Corey Heim and Williams Walsh after the races had concluded, and I had already seen the results. Crazy of him, don't you think?
I would like to just quickly give a shout out to the fact that Caden edits these episodes, including the 8.5-minute one you saw last week, and in the raw episode, I don't know if it made the episode, I mentioned that we are going to put out graphics on our picks, and he still did not remember to write down a pick.
Yeah, it's true.
Then again, hold on, side tangent. Come to think of it, has Caden ever actually inputted his own pick, or do we do it for him every time?
No, I've seen him do it,
Sometimes I'll type the name in.
and then I go and find the rest of it and just copy and
Okay,
paste.
that's acceptable. That's fine.
You did also remind me in person to make a pick too, and
I did. Yeah,
Caden,
I was gonna.
I have no
helping
excuse
out there, buddy.
No.
No, he doesn't. He very rarely does. That being said, we do have racing this coming week at Bristol. We have the Trucks, O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, and the Cup Series.
The last great Coliseum.
Indeed. Of course, our picks for this race, me sitting with the Toyota Camp that I've been running a lot of the season with, and Christopher Bell, the Oklahoma kid, racing for JGR in the number 20. He's my pick. Ben has taken a more obvious and traditional pick in the number 5 HendrickCars.com machine of Kyle Larson. And Caden, in traditional Caden fashion, went with someone who admittedly was not the worst possible option this time, but certainly a choice in AJ Allmendinger. Now, that's not a slight against AJ Allmendinger. As we all know, we love AJ Allmendinger here on the ACP. That's just a statement. Yep, we always do. That's just a statement of
Bristol's not probably his best track.
It's not his worst. He's one of the better lower level cars at this racetrack. He qualified on the pole there last year.
Look, AJ Allmendinger's sniffing the chase as things stand right now.
Yes, Dinger is a consistent driver.
Collick has had a good year, and Ty Dillon opened the season really strong and has kind of ran into trouble the last few weeks for his case. But Collick in the Cup. Hey.
Yeah,
hey.
I mean,
wait, you put some habanero on this, or get a little spicy here?
Just a brief little look ahead for the record. Kansas is the next race up on the schedule. And I gotta say, if this season continues on its current path, I would not be surprised if Ben and Caden cash in one of their 3 repicks on, let's see, I've gone with Tyler Reddick, and Caden has Noah Gregson, and Ben has Connor Zell.
Yeah, I did. That's right. I did take a swing on the Zillbilly. With how the Chevy body has run this year and how bad Chevys have been across the board. And I say that unless they're the 45 going in a figure 8 course. It's been kind of hard. Growing pains, but we'll see. I'm not taking it this week. I'm happy. I'm confident with Kyle.
I'm going to invite, or rather tell Caden to go first here on his picks.
Okay.
For the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series race.
Okay. Where's the entry list for this? Because I found the links to the Cup Series and the Truck Series, but take
JJ Yaley.
Okay.
Don't take it.
I'll take JJ Yaley.
No.
Give me JJ Yaley.
I can't stick in JJ Yaley racing the 5 for Hettinger. Well, Hettinger, by the way, if you guys, this is actually a good segue point, is they've announced that they're stepping back from running full time, which means we have no more full time Fords, as AM Racing is also kind of limping and probably won't be, is pretty much shuttering at this point. So, but he's going out with a bang.
JJ Yaley, yep.
JJ Yaley. Sorry, Derek.
Wow. And
I'm going to take a more standard approach to this pick for the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series at Bristol. I'll take Jesse Love. Hasn't found that first win so far this year. RCR car has been fast. reigning champ. And I'm going to just shoot from the hip. I've only picked RCR and Junior Motorsports cars this year. It's kind of hard to pick anyone else right now in the series, but I'll just take Jesse again. And just to say this is the week that he gets through.
Kind of hard to take anybody else right now, he says, a week after a Toyota wins.
Well, no, I just mean, if you look at how the season has started, I'm happy for William Sawalich. Great run for him. Great first win. And at a track that you probably wouldn't have guessed like a first win would come at the Rock, that's an accomplishment in its own right. But yeah.
I think the evening factor there for William Sawalich is everybody else is just as inexperienced there as he is.
True. For the most part.
Technically, everybody else has less experience than he does because he also ran the ARCA East race there last year. Anyways, I'm getting distracted as I always do. I'm going to take my pick. I've actually looked at the entry list, and there's definitely a driver who I'd say is the correct option, a driver who almost certainly will win this race, but I refuse to take Bushwhackers, so I'm not going to take him. I'm going to go with the driver, the number 9, Carson Kvapil, to win this one at Bristol this week. I have very little faith that he will actually get it done, but hey, I can dream.
It's not a bad pick at all. Carson's had a really great start to the year in about 3 different cars, obviously, as he's kind of been bounced around this year. I take it so Zilich is running the one in this weekend. Is he the Bushwhacker you're referring to, or is there a second Hendrick Bushwhacker that's kicking Raja out of his car back to Jordan Anderson?
Raja Carruth will be in the number 32 this weekend.
Yeah,
and driving the number 88, Hendrickcars.com machine is Kyle Larson.
And
so
I
Larson's
can't change
probably
my
gonna win.
pick. Yeah.
Larson's probably going to win. I gave
Technically-
you first dibs, and you...
I didn't
swung
have
for
an
the fences
entry
with
list.
JJ Yaley.
Okay, I will. You know what? I will let him. I'm okay.
No.
Change
I'll stand on
because
business.
I was one.
He doesn't get to change. If he wanted a competitor, he could have looked 3 columns to the left and seen Justin Allgaiers won 3 of the past 4 races. Sorry, 3 of the past 5.
Yeah,
I went to bat for a kid.
Chose
10
JJ
toes down
Yaley.
on this one.
Standing on Gailey. All right.
Yep.
Truck series. I'll open this one up. I'm gonna take Chandler Smith. Been a great, opening run for those front row trucks. Corey Heim, while missing 2 races, is not eligible for the chase. Is the points leader, although he's only part time. But I'm gonna take one of the full timers and a driver who I think can win a championship here. I'll take Chandler Smith.
Okay. I am going to be taking Corey Heim here because he's just so dominant so far.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is he the 1 or the 5 this weekend? Does
He's
anyone
the
know?
1 this week.
Okay.
There is a lot of drivers who are realistically contenders in this race, whether you have your Corey Heims, your Grant Enfingers, your Ty Majeskis that are week in, week out in the mix, or the army of bushwhackers that are coming down for this one. Ricky Stenhouse in the 4, Kyle Busch in the 7, Daniel Suarez in the 71, Carson Hocevar in the 77, Chastain in the 45, Christopher Bell in the 62. And obviously, I'm not going to take any of them because I refuse to do that. But we're kind of sticking with the theme of I'm picking drivers I think can do well, not necessarily win. These are 2 drivers in my O'Reilly's pick and my Truck Series pick who are talented more so than anything else. The highest finishing truck this year from Ram has been the number 25. And I think Carson Ferguson keeps that trend up and has a good run. Not necessarily a win, but a good run for that number 25.
That's a great pick. Runner up in this year's Race for the Seat Ram television show. Fergie is a great driver, and that's a solid pick, Derek, and could be sneaky, except I don't think Carson Ferguson is racing it this weekend.
He is. He's on the entry list.
Yes. Okay. Why did I think he was racing
when
it?
Daniel Dye gets fired?
Well, no, why did I think he was racing it next weekend?
I don't know.
That's my bad.
It's Ferguson in the 25, LaJoy in the number 10.
Okay. Yeah, Corey LaJoy now full-time for the rest of the year in the Truck Series.
Man, I'm sure he's excited to race in front of nobody, as he said.
He did say that. Well, those are our picks. Let us know down in the comments who you think is going to bring home some victories this weekend. Ryan Clark, I want to hear from you who you think is going to win this weekend.
Yeah.
And tell you can let Nick Holton know that I'm joining him in his Kyle Larson energy.
Yeah. Before we move on from the world of NASCAR, we're going to do a brief points standings update for you guys. Tyler Reddick obviously holding down the 1 spot. Ryan Blaney in second. No change there. Denny Hamlin moves up to third. Elliott and Byron round out the top 5. And then for the top 10, you got Gibbs, Bell, Keselowski, Larson, and Chris Buescher making the cut, although dropping a few spots after this past week. Ty Gibbs is the biggest change there in your top 10. So still early, but that's your point standings.
Well, from the wider world of national racing, we turn our attention to the local track we love so much. Ben, take it away. Let's talk about Evergreen Speedway.
All right. The Super Speedway of the West has put 2 race nights down. All the divisions have had their opening night. We'll start with the boring ones at this point. The more boring races, which happen to come for both premier divisions at the Speedway. For the Outlaw Figure 8 opening night, for the Outlaw opening, look, it's not fighting when I tack them both. The Outlaw Figure 8 race opening night saw Dakota Wilkinson lead from pole to pole, and it was just uneventful. Like, unfortunately, everyone kind of played nice. We saw the return of Seth Funden, who took 2025 off from running full-time. Sounds like he's going to run full-time this year in 2026, which is exciting news. More cars are on the way, I think, and multiple drivers that I talked with kind of talked about just there wasn't enough traffic at times to really be able to make a move. The leaders kind of ran single file. Zach Larson's have fun and finish on the podium. It was, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's still a great race, and like fans are still jumping out of their seats. And opening night too had a great crowd for that race, and so hopefully that's going to build a lot of more fans to come back. But it was fairly uneventful, and so was the Speedway Chevrolet Pro Late Models. Fairly uneventful. A 5-car invert is what it'd be. It was 6 and then 5, and with some people who were slated to start the back. Saw Chase Gardner lead laps, Chad Fitzpatrick lead laps, and ultimately Haley Constance, middle of the race or so, took the lead over and dashed home. And it wasn't really close. Chad Fitzpatrick, Naima Lang, joined her on the podium. A couple other highlights. The Northwest Pro 4 trucks, man, they sure stirred up a controversy to open this year with a driver intentionally is the word that has been thrown around, wrecking a fellow competitor. The 8 truck running into the 24 and early in the race. Per the Northwest Pro 4 Truck Association, that driver has been suspended for the remainder of the 2026 season, and the 2 other drivers from their team will be driving on probation. So, yeah, I'm not going to stoke these coals. It was a hard wreck for both drivers involved. I am intentionally not naming the drivers because I'm not trying to, again, stir this up. You can go look it up. It's on Home Track Hero, so you can go watch it. So it was a gnarly wreck for both. Turn 4 is off turn 4 to the front stretch is a very dangerous place. We saw the Big Rick wreck there 2 years ago. We've seen, Tyson Lang during, Mark Galloway's shootout qualifying, try to keep it off the wall and smashing into the inside wall. Ken Bonney during the Mark Galloway shootout, trying to keep it off the wall, caught air. It's just a dangerous part of the racetrack.
The thing I'll put out there, and I'll bite my tongue and be like Ben and not soak fire, in that turn 4 of Evergreen Speedway is a dangerous place on the 3/8. Lyndon Smith took a heck of a hit last year out of that corner. And we're happy to see him back out here. And Ben will talk about that in a sec.
And he was down for a
hard hit.
Yeah.
Earlier in that same season, we watched Jaden Luce get together with Danny Arnold in one of the scariest legend directs I've ever seen as they go flipping into the outside wall. Both those drivers climbed out of their cars okay. Something I'm still happy for. And they hugged on the front stretch, which was adorable. But that doesn't mean that this is a safe area to do that sort of thing. Right hooking people on a section where they are accelerating is a dangerous, dangerous thing to do and horrifically irresponsible.
If I had a nickel for every terrible legend wreck I witnessed last year, I'd have 2 nickels, which is not a lot, but enough to just make me never want to see another one again. But it was that one, and then it was Joe Decker's at Wenatchee. That one, last year.
I've heard that from veterans of this sport who've watched this sport for 20, 25 years. I have heard that called the scariest wreck they have ever seen.
Which one?
Wow.
Joe's?
The Joe Decker record.
So for context, he rolled over going down the back street, and then the roof of his Legend hit the outside wall and crumbled. And he was obviously pretty banged up, but okay. They transported him to a local medical facility. And obviously, to context, Joe Decker was racing last Saturday at Evergreen Speedway, so is back in the car, back in the Legend. The Legend race,
Legend too.
yeah, very sharp. Both the Decker racing cars look really, really good this year. Joe looked fast, but was involved in an incident. But his daughter Kaylee nabs a podium, second place. Braden Wager opens up the Legend campaign back on top. The mini stocks race of the year.
Hold on. I want to bring up Damien Harris.
Oh, I skipped over Damien. I'm so sorry. I thought I mentioned that because I started with Kaylee, so I thought I'd already. Damien Harris also gets up on the podium. Just a great run for him. Great run for Kaylee. You know, just love to see young, homegrown talent from this Northwest region coming and dominating. And Damien Harris did it all last year, Derek. We would constantly talk about his consistency to run towards the front. It looks like he's only getting more comfortable and only getting more seat time and only getting faster. And that consistency that he showed is going to hopefully translate for a good points finish for him this season. Mini stocks, race of the year, potentially already. Lyndon Smith was a bad mamma jamma. He was wicked fast until 7 to go when the car gave out.
No.
And he
tire.
He turned left into the infield, and he was like 2 seconds up on Bristol and Raritan, who were trying to chase after him, but he was up. So then this became a Bristol Raritan showdown, and I was like, oh my goodness, is Cole Raritan going to get to Bristol? What's going to happen? And then a solo spin in turn 1 brings a caution out with 6 to go.
Oh my gosh.
And so we got to restart, and yeah, just an incredible. And then you throw Justin Brave in the mix. It was a wicked restart. Those 6 laps, I can't wait to get them on home track. I can't wait to get, people get a chance to rewatch them. But Zach Bristol hangs on, defeats Cole Raritan on opening night. Justin Brave finishes 3rd. That division is only going to be more fun this year. It was so much fun last year. It is only going to be more fun this year. Dawson Cox picks up a super stock figure 8 win again. It's just he gets in a super stock figure 8 and he either hits a Uke tire or wins the race. There's no in between for Dawson.
What I was going to say is plenty of other people hit the Uke tire to make up for Dawson not clocking it.
Who hit the Uke?
Who didn't hit the Uke is a better question.
Oh.
Doug Delfell hit the Uke pretty hard. Talbert hit the Uke pretty hard.
Talbert had some help.
Yeah, Talbot had some help. Delfell had some help. So it was kind of an
interesting race.
Congratulations to all the main event winners, because the other races, I'm just either Mark Hubbard, welcome back, wins the streak stock main event. Will now start at the rear and add weight for the rule changes in that division this year. So that'll be interesting. Congrats to him. If I'm not talking about your race, it's not because I don't care. It's just because that's enough of recapping 2 weeks of racing. You can go watch it all on Home Track Heroes on Seattle 11, 5 to 7, or you can catch it on the Evergreen Speedway YouTube page if you want to go up. Other tracks getting into action. Deming Speedway kicked their season off Friday night. If you guys want to touch on that at all, you guys were there.
It was really fun.
Caden.
Yeah.
Talk about this.
It was my first dirt track race that I ever got to see, so that was really fun. I got sprayed in the face with some dirt pellets. Yeah, it was really fun. It was loud and exciting. Like the crowd was getting into it. It was good. It was fun to see all the different I call it divisions of cars or classes. Classes. It was fun. I couldn't visually tell much difference between them besides just size, but you could hear the difference. It was just awesome. It was a good race too. A few good races in there. I saw some good wrecks too. Everyone was okay, thankfully. Yeah, I picked my favorite car, and I had a couple favorites, and neither of them were really ever competitive. So
looks like we're continuing the streak.
Yeah, even when I don't know a single driver, I can't even pick.
That's where you just got to text Caleb Hart and be like, who do I root for? That's what I did. And now I have a Skagit root. Now I root for Skagit stuff. So,
and the burger was a 7 out of 10.
Solid burger.
Yeah.
Deming Speedway obviously racing Friday nights. Skagit Speedway's opening up here soon. I know South Sound Speedway, I believe, kicked their season off as well. Racing in the Northwest is alive and well, but you can't officially say that racing in the Northwest is open without this weekend. So I got all excited. I did my whole Apple bit to no avail to start the show. It is Apple Cup weekend. It is time for the running of this year's Apple Cup weekend. It is the Spears Cars Tour Northwest presented by Hoosier Tire West, the ICCU 125 Pro Late Model Saturday night, and then the Apple Cup race on Sunday for the super lates. Did we get the actual name of this year's Apple Cup? I believe Ken Bonney is sponsoring it again. I believe it's the Bonney Tractor and Ag Apple Cup, which is kind of funny that he's racing in the event and also is the title sponsor. So
that is fun.
We love what Ken does for the world of motorsports.
Yeah, it is the 57th running of the Bonnie's TYM Tractors Apple Cup presented by Legends Casino. The Apple Cup race itself is the Apple Cup 125 as well. So 125 laps around this racetrack. Kate and I will be there for Saturday night to witness the Pro Late race. That doesn't mean that you should, just because we aren't in the situation where we can go there and watch both nights, doesn't mean you shouldn't if you can. We will talk about who we think is going to win this race in just a little bit. But I wanted to talk a little bit first about what makes this race special. Why does the Apple Cup get circled on schedules? Why do we talk about it? And one of those big things is this is an old race. As I mentioned, the 57th running coming up this year. This race was hosted at Yakima Speedway from 1967 to 2019 and had a rich history there. But Yakima unfortunately folded just, I believe, in 2020.
You want to hear something sad?
Gone now.
You want to hear something sad?
Go for it.
You can go on Google Maps and you can go to the location where Yakima Speedway sat, which is now a Pape Machinery place. And on the Google Maps, you can see the machinery, their big sales place in the back lot where they keep all these machines. And then you can see a little bit of a paved it's like a 3 and 4, and it's all that's left.
And last I heard, those are actually gone now too.
Ugh.
It is just dirt left over. And Yakima is a shining example of losing a track in the Northwest. But the Apple Cup didn't stay dead. Tri-Cities Raceway picked it up, and we have run there since 2022. So 4 races have been run at Tri-Cities Raceway. Those 4 races were won by Preston Peltier, Kyle Tellstrom, Garrett Evans, and Zach Reel. Pretty decorated list of names. Notably, only Zach Reel and Justin Jefferson are former winners of the Apple Cup race to be racing in the field this season. Absences include drivers like Owen Riddle. However, Taylor Riddle is making a reappearance in the Northwest Racing field to go and chase the Apple Cup 125. It is sure to be a good one, that's for sure. I've seen solid car counts for both. I've given Ben and Caden the entry lists, and we'll talk about them in just a little bit. But if you want to see them, head on over to Facebook and follow Tri-City Raceway RMEC. Not only will you see any updates about future drivers who get added, but you can scroll down and find the lists of names for drivers who will be running. Like I said, it's got to be a good weekend of racing. I'm excited to be there. It'll be my first time seeing late models at the Tricky Tri-Oval. I'm excited to show Caden this really special and shockingly fast racetrack.
So Derek and I have been to the Tri-City Raceway for the ARCA Menard Series West. We went the first year back, which was won by, I think, a Rife. Yeah, beat out Sean Hingarani and with Greg Biffle in the field. And obviously this is a big deal with the loss of Greg. You know, Tri-Cities Raceway was his home track as a youth, and he's a track champion there. And it's tough to lose him, especially for them and the people around that racetrack, the people who run that racetrack who knew him personally. And I know that they're going to do a great job honoring him throughout this year as well, later in the year with the ARCA Menard Series again. But I then also made the trek last year for Fall Classic Sunday and caught the super late models racing that race. So I've seen late models on this track, and yes, Caden, you're going to be surprised at how wicked fast these are. Here's the other thing I think you're going to be surprised. You can sit right up on the fence
Really?
because the grandstand there, the bleachers are built up. It's like the track is dropped. So, I mean, you're not like right on it, but you can sit to where you can reach out with your legs probably and touch the fence and feel the cars coming flying by you underneath.
That's awesome.
It's a tri-oval. It's loud. It is an amazing facility for racing. I think right now it kills me that like we lost Yakima Speedway. It kills me with the current limbo that Hermiston is in, and currently it's closed, and what's happening with the land. And I have not heard anything more on that. But I am very fortunate that the combination of Wenatchee, Tri-Cities, and Evergreen, we have such unique variety of tracks for these drivers still to race on with what we have left. Throw in State Line when you hop right over the border. Yeah, we're very lucky that we do have the track. They're not all cookie cutters. They're not all quarter miles. We got a quarter mile. We got a tri-oval. We got a big super speedway. So it's going to be a good weekend. A couple sport classes running. Let's kind of talk. I'm going to kind of start to pull some names. We'll start with the pro late models. Spears Cars Tour Northwest Race, the ICCU 125. For my Evergreen fans, the names that you will immediately recognize: Naima Lang, Wyatt Gardner making the hop over. You can also see Kyle Lang, Chase Gardner making the hop over. You'll see Haley Constance as well, kind of rounding out the Evergreen field of drivers that are going over. So a strong showing from the west side of the mountain late model drivers. To all of you, please bring your car back. That's all I ask. And here's the thing: is like last year, Naima Lang, he's been chasing this one. Talked with him a little bit about it. Derek, he's not taking the black one with the red number. He's taken the white one. He's taken his same old late model. To quote, that's what I said. Yep, I'm taking the same old one. That's the quote to run this race, meaning he's serious about it. Zach Reel entering into pulling double duty. Of course, won last year's super late portion. You will see Keelan Harvick. You will see you'll see Keelan Harvick. You won't see Kevin, I believe, racing this weekend. So obviously his Fox commitments make it kind of hard, but you will get a chance to see Keelan out there. Thomas Stanford, another great name, obviously in the pro late model division to be keeping your eyes on. Fast everywhere he goes. Hayden Plybon is pulling double duty. He's running his Joe's Chassis Pro on Friday, and then his own super late model on Saturday. And the last name that I really just want to touch on, entered into the pro late division, is Cole Raz, a driver who typically is running super late models here on the West Coast when he's out here, entered in to run the pro at Apple Cup this year. So, and so many more names on top of that. There is something worth talking about with every single one of these drivers. Vito Cancilla making the trip up from California. Obviously, he's running with the Rackley War Crew. Sydney Hamlin is a young up-and-comer from the East Side making her debut. Ryan Phipps, a champion of the Northwest Super Late Model Series, is running this race as well. I believe he's pulling double duty this weekend as well. Casey Klein is coming back. He's pulling double duty. There's a good story here with pretty much every driver, and the list goes on. So if you're just going over for Saturday, like Derek and Caden are, or if that's maybe you're working Sunday or whatever, go. It is going to be so worth it to see this race in person. I am so jealous that I'm not. But again, putting it on Flow, I will see it all. I will have you two muted because I'm sure I'm going to be working while it's actually happening, and I'll have to watch the replay. So I'll have you both muted, probably block you both. We'll just play it safe. And then we go to Sunday, which is when we talk about crown jewel races of the Northwest for super late models, there's I think four that really jump off the page to me. Maybe three. Maybe not four. It's the Apple Cup 125, Wenatchee 200, Summer Showdown, and then Fall Classic. Those are I'd say that the highest paying races. I think the Southtown has a really strong 200 that's worth going to if you race super lates as well. And then the Idaho 200 becoming a pro late model race this year, like a strictly pro late model race this year, I think is also going to be part of that kind of shifting away.
Gordon Haynes, Jack Jeffrey, Dick Bown, Gary Kershaw, Rusty Gott, Herschel McGriff, Don Dowdy, Ron Eaton, Derek Cope, Jerry Bowers, Mike Kelly, Brad Tidrick, Roger Hall, Steve Olson, Bob Schweigert, Dan Obrist, Jeff Bird, Garrett Evans, Pete Harding, Jeff Jefferson, Jason Jefferson, Shane Mitchell, BJ Tidrick, Travis Bennett, Jason Frazier, Mike Longton, Owen Riddle, Shelby Thompson, Preston Peltier, Kyle Tellstrom, and Zach Reel. Those drivers are united by one thing. They've all won the Apple Cup. For some of these, this is a crowning achievement. This is the top. For other drivers, this is just something on the list. Derek Cope is a Daytona 500 winner.
Well, Herschel McGriff is a NASCAR Hall of Fame nominee. He's on the ballot. Which, by the way, if anyone voted for that, they should vote for Herschel McGriff.
The winningest driver in the history of this race is Don Dowdy, who you heard me mention near the top. He is a 6-time winner of the Apple Cup. He won it 4 years in a row. Whoa. 74, 75, 76, 77. Ron Eaton won it in 78, and 79 and 81 were Don Dowdy. They didn't run in 1980, I should note. In 7 runnings of the Apple Cup, Don Dowdy won 6 of them.
Sheesh.
That's crazy.
This is a race with history.
The decade of Dowdy.
Pete Harding has a lot of wins in this one. Garrett Evans has a lot of wins in this one. Owen Riddle has 3. This race means a lot. And Yakima is a track that many drivers figured out. Tri-Cities is a much harder beast. It's a difficult track. It's a fast track, and it's one you cannot mess up on. And on that note, gentlemen, let's pick a crown jewel. On that note, gentlemen, let's pick some races. Let's start with the ICCU 125 at Tri-Cities Raceway. I think the way I want to do this is Caden, Ben, me, then me, Ben, Caden.
And a little serpentine action?
Yeah, a little bit of serpentine.
Sure.
Caden, take it away.
Yeah. I'm going to pick a local Evergreen person. Obviously, I know them the best, even if I don't know them very well. But I'm going to be taking the 00 of Namalang. That old, what do you call it? The same old late model.
Same old late model.
I think it's going to do it.
This is one of the, Namalang has very few races to still check off the bucket list. And Apple Cup weekend is still one of them. So, all right. Derek's going to hate it. I think oftentimes we talk about how experience matters. Seat time, understanding of your car, and running the tricky tri-oval in the middle of this state. But sometimes I don't think that's not the only defining thing. And so I just don't think there's anyone better to pick right now than Keelan Harvick. This will be the debut for him on a tri-oval, I think, period. But I know for a fact Rackley will bring him a fast race car. I know he's going to feel confident. And I'm going to take the 62. I'm going to take the 13-year-old.
The one driver not from the West, besides the 2 TBDs, which I still don't know what that means, but
we don't know where they're from.
Yeah. Okay.
Mars. Anyway.
There are so many good drivers on this list. So many drivers to pick from. I actually, admittedly, made my pick already. For those of you who listen to this one and also listen to the In the Fence podcast, you've heard my pick to win this race already. That being said, I'm still going to talk about a couple of other drivers because that's my whole deal is I never stop talking.
True.
Horaz and Vita Cancela are 2 incredibly talented drivers who I think you need to expect to be running up front. Andrew Reel is a driver with more weight than a lot of these guys do on his shoulders because his brother won it last year.
Yeah, I recognize that last name.
And I'd want to win anything my brother also won. You got to show this is anything you can do, I can do better sort of deal. But my pick is a classic for me. My very first pick I ever made on a broadcast was back in 2022. Flow Racing came to town, was covering the Summer Showdown for that season. I was pit reporting and was asked, who do I think can win the 2022 Summer Showdown? The Pro Late race, and I looked at a car that had been sent to the back to go repair a tire. Someone who had it go down and just, needed a shot. He had to work his way through the field, and he did not disappoint me. With about 7 laps to go, he made his move to the inside of 2 legends, one of Northwest Racing and Tyler Tanner, however you regard him in the modern day, and the other of late model racing, period. in Derek. So we call him the 5-8 Ace. We call him the East Wenatchee Warrior. My pick to win the ICCU 125 is driver the number 19, Thomas Stanford.
That's a Derek. We all took a contender, which I agree with. But yeah, that's a good pick. You know, Thomas is one of the best to do it right now in this part of the country, no doubt. So Derek, that's a really strong one.
Yeah. And now it's back in my court already to take the next one. I'm not going to walk you through this field. This field has a lot of talent, but I'm not going to, take you through the numbers. I'm simply going to look at there's so many good options here. There's only one who, in my opinion, hasn't carved that last stone. He's got so much talent. He is someone you need to be on the lookout for. Someone who is truly going to be the representative for Northwest Racing soon enough on the bigger stage. I'm going to take him before Ben gets the chance. Driver the number 55 out of Spokane, Washington. I got to take Hayden Flybaugh.
I was to say we can't go two race picks and not take Hayden for one of these. Yep. It's obviously not a rule that we can't take the same driver, but that would honestly just be no fun. So this one's tough, I will say, because this one is going to be. There's a lot of drivers here that are on this list polling double duty that may end up with their car wadded up after Saturday and will no longer be polling double duty. So that is something I am keeping in mind when I'm looking at making my pick. And there's a few really interesting fun ones. Obviously, Taylor Riddle jumps off the page coming out of semi-retirement, whatever we're going to call it, to run this race again. I'm looking at Bryce Bezzanson as a strong driver on these small ovals and these small tracks, and is run fairly well to start his season for the Cars Tour Super Late Model Series. But that's not where I'm looking. I'm going to take the last driver to win an event at Tri-Cities Raceway. Give me Ethan Ebert to go back-to-back in Northwest Late Model Premier Crown Jewels. Last year's Fall Classic winner, who for 100 and something laps fishtailed at the back running 29th, and the minute the leaders would get to his back bumper, he would boop, 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 and pass 5 or 6 of cars in front of him, put some gap, and a caution would come back. He knows how to play the tires. He knows the track. He's already won once on this race. I think Ethan Ebert is the quickest growing prospect in the Northwest. Wow. If you don't know the name now, in 3 years you will. Apple Cup going back-to-back at Tri-Cities. Give me Ebert.
Okay. Great picks so far. No pressure for me, right, guys? Okay. This is the big one. I'm going to pick a guy that I don't know very well. And by that, I mean at all. But I like the name, and I especially like that he's from the city I was born in. Give me Dylan Caldwell from Nampa, Idaho. Gotta represent.
Okay. I don't hate that pick.
I don't either.
Going a little deep in the bag, which I don't mind. We'll see what he's able to bring. That's what I'm saying. This is the other thing. That's what makes Apple Cup so great. It is the great unknown.
Mm-hmm.
For so many of these drivers, this is the debut this season. What off-season improvements did you do? What seat time did you gain? What did you gain working on, in the shop and in yourself? And who plays the Hoosier game right? And so there is really not a wrong pick in this bunch. There's the drivers who are more likely to do it.
Right.
Don't get me wrong. This is still late model racing at the end of the day. Car difference is a thing, but I'm surprised you didn't take one of the TBD hometown.
Yeah. Drivers, I was also considering the veteran Taylor Riddle, but I got to represent the hometown.
Which, can we just say, by the way, what a story it's going to be if Taylor Riddle gets back in a car and just goes, I'll win this. And then, I don't know, does whatever he wants, goes back into oblivion.
Right.
Owen did it last year.
Yes, he did. Yeah. So, man. Well, we want to hear your Apple Cup picks. We want to see how you're going to be watching Apple Cup. Will it be at home on Flow? Will it be at the racetrack? Will it be somewhere else? Share below. Derek, Caden, you guys, we hearing from you guys at all on the platforms at all during the race or during the weekend, or maybe a little bit? Not going to promise anything.
We'll see. I might record some fast thoughts on the way back from the track. We'll see. It all really depends on how this weekend goes. I'm super excited for it.
At the very least, we'll cover it next week.
100%.
100%.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, of the three of us, I don't have the ACP Twitter or any social media.
Yeah. We
My
can get it to
mobile
you.
phone, which I think is kind of funny as the guy who does way too much of the talking on this show.
The guy chronically
I have-
online.
Critically online.
Yeah.
I'm not the one who was making jokes based off internet memes that I'd never heard of earlier today. I'm chronically online in that I love internet horror. I don't know what type of chronically online you are. A degenerate, I'd say.
Whoa, okay.
Wow. Wow. DJing me on the podcast. That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we might
You know.
might do some live tweeting. That could be fun. We'll see.
Obviously, follow us on the various platforms, whether it be here on YouTube, where you're probably watching this, here on Spotify, where you're probably listening to this, over on Twitter or X or whatever the hell you want to call the Bird app. That's now the X app, I guess. Instagram. Do we have other ones?
No,
No,
Facebook?
right now. We have a Facebook.
it's not super active.
It has 2 reels.
Oh, there you go. Follow us on social media.
Yeah.
But until next time, this has been the Announcer's Curse podcast, and I've been Derek Todoroff.
I'm Ben Ivan.
And I've been Caden Barksdale.
And soon it'll all be over.